So if my goal is enhance customer satisfaction from bike maintenance, I might set an objective. My objective is that we want get people to service their bikes for us on a regular basis, right? That might be my more immediate objective. And so I can add that. And if I click on it again, I'm now drilling further and further into the system. I can add more detail about what I'm in. It's now asking me, how am I going to know whether that's happening? So it's saying, suggest some key performance indicators that I would know whether that's happening. I'm going to see if the AI will actually come up with a KPI. Otherwise, I'll just suggest one manually. So it's come up with a couple. So it says, yeah, you could measure the number of bookings which are repeat bookings.
Yep.
You could measure the customer satisfaction rating, or you could measure the percentage of customers who book a maintenance service within 6 months of a bike purchase. So those are all perfectly good things that you could measure and record, assuming you have the systems in place to do it, that would tell you that your bike maintenance service is producing the desired outcome.
And StratNavApp will then, you could build those APIs in StratNavApp.
It's built them already. So I can pick this one now, and I can go again into the record here, and I can say, okay, this is an outcome. It's going to be quantitative. My unit of measurement is service bookings. Actually, it's repeat service bookings.
So just to pause there, Chris, so that we can all catch up with you. So with the KPI, the key performance indicator, KPI, is the dimensions, the number of repeat service bookings is what we're going to be looking at. You said very rapidly, it's an outcome. What are the other options in the value chain stage?
So we've got outcomes, we've got outcome processes. So that's a thing I do to produce an output. Sorry, not an outcome. So that could be like number of bikes serviced, right? It's an activity that I'm actually doing.
Can you show us those on that drop down, or is it it's
these 5 options here?
Oh, okay. It's not showing up on the screen here, but don't worry. I'm sure.
Oh, isn't it?
No, don't worry. It's all right. It's probably just the recording software here, but just that's fine. So basically, you've got the value chain stage, which value chain is chain is the chain that basically delivers value to the customer from the supply point of view and the supplier's point of view, and processes the whole thing that supplies the value. That drop-down box, probably because of the recording software, isn't picking up the drop-down, but it's under there. You've got 5 different outcomes. Chris, do you want to read them out of what the value chain is?
So you've got the outcomes. The outcomes for me are the gold standard. That's the actual impact it's having on the real world. But you can also talk about output processing, which is the amount of effort that goes into producing it. And remember I said you really want to measure the outcome, not the activity. But you can measure the activity as well. So you can measure output processing, or the third one is the output itself, how many units are actually output from the process. And then similarly, you have input processing and input units. So input processing would be, for example, acquiring raw materials or inputs, or acquiring stock, rather than the output, which is then selling the stock. Right. So you can measure at various points along the value chain. Outcome, as I say, is the gold standard.
And indicator type. Click on that again. I think probably because of the recording software here.
Yeah,
it's not showing the
I
drop.
can see it's not showing up there.
Yeah, it's not showing. So you've basically got quantitative, and qualitative. Is that correct?
And qualitative, And again, quantitative being the gold standard. Quantitative being something that you can count and assign a number to. Qualitative being something that you can't assign a number to. You have to assign a value to, like excellent, or so. If you were So a good example would be like the health rating on a restaurant, right? They don't give you a number. They tell you that you're excellent, you're too standard, you're substandard, or you're poor, for example. That would be a qualitative KPI. Then you've got the unit of measurement, the thing that you are, in this case, because it's a quantitative, the thing that you are counting. Yep. Description, obviously, you can put in additional you want. Stock or flow is a little bit technical to describe. Probably we don't have time to go into it now, but there's a hover help there, and if you click on that, you'll get full explanations.
So what it says, stocks are represented by values at a single point in time, whereas flows represent a change in value between a start date and an end date. It's actually, having used this a lot, it's very intuitive. You go in, and it all makes sense when you read all the help. Contextual help, it all makes sense, and actually it's incredibly easy to do. I would suggest, as a user, go in and play with it, have a bit of fun, do it right from the outset. I suggest you have a dummy strategy, although maybe you don't. Maybe you start with your strategy and you build it out. But a dummy strategy is useful because you can always go. You're not worried about what you do and what you break. And your livelihood isn't depending upon it. So you just have it as your sandbox playpen.
So the variable I would like to highlight, the frequency, right? How often are you going to try and record this? And obviously more frequent is better, but recording things comes in with an overhead of actually counting up and filling it in. So it depends on your specific circumstances. I usually recommend monthly as a minimum, but sometimes you just can't do things on a monthly basis. If you can do things on a weekly basis, that's brilliant, but sometimes that can be a bit onerous. And then you can actually capture the data. So if we just go down very quickly, so we can say, actually this would be a flow, technically. So we can say between the 26th of June and the 25th of July, we had 17 repeats.
Mm-hmm. And, as a result.
That's the result. And the following month, we had 25, so we can see it's getting better. Actually, what I should do is, because we're now looking at the future, we can't possibly have had those in the future, so let's...
That's remember, you could be watching us in 2028 when looking back on the Paris Olympics, we won 121 gold medals.
But when we look at the system just now, Barry, it's going to realize that we've cheated, so it's going to create an anomaly just now. So I'm just going to make those past values. There we go. That didn't take long. So we've started to record some values. If I now go into my results, you will see we've started to build up a scorecard where it's mapped out our balance scorecard perspectives. Mm. We haven't categorized them all. Obviously, we would want to go and finish categorizing those. But it's mapped out. We can see this, our goal here, to enhance customer satisfaction. We can see we've broken that down into objectives. We can see we broke that down into 3 KPIs. And we can see we've started to collect data on one of the KPIs. And this is now starting to show a trend line that says our business is moving in the right direction. We could set targets as well and say, is it moving fast enough or not? But at least we've got an indication.
And from the customer perspective, the 3 KPIs here under customer are number of repeat maintenance service bookings. So the second, third, fourth column along from the left. Number of repeat maintenance service bookings. The next one is customer satisfaction rating for book maintenance and percentage of customers who book a maintenance service with the bike purchase. We've only done the first KPI.
We've only done the first one.
Have we got a point?
And we've only got 2 data points, right? As we go, every month you'll build up new data points and you'll start to see, is there a trend emerging and are we happy with the trend? And you'll be able to look at the variables that, they all line up underneath each other. So you'll be able to look at it and say, so these ones are trending in the right direction. These ones aren't. What are we getting wrong here? What have we misunderstood about the mechanics of this business?
Right. And we've now had a very good exploration around the build phase. Can we look at the one we made earlier now to just show a kind of completed one and what the output can look like?